Hello and welcome to BharatShakti. I'm Brigadier Chatterji. We're going to be discussing about the Directorate General of Information Systems today. But before we go on to the Directorate General as such, with the Director General himself presenting the story, let me talk to you for a minute about BharatShakti. This year happens to be BharatShakti's 10th year of being in operation. And it's been a long story. It's also been a hugely successful story. This year we'll be doing a whole year of special programs for you. Like we will be interviewing the Director Generals of various arms and services and also functions. So you will find a lot of material that comes your way. We'll go to the training institutions, show how training is done, let's say in the School of Artillery, let's say in the Armored Corps Training Center and School, various other places. Women, we haven't had too many programs about women. So we will have a lot of programs involving women who are officers, women who are army wives, women who are army officers' children. So all kinds of programs you will see this year. But let me get back again to Directorate General of Information Systems. And I have with me Lt Gen RK Sahni. Welcome, General. Welcome to BharatShakti.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having spared your time. We'll talk about your directorate as such. And well, as far as Infosystem is concerned, every one of us actually gets affected by it. But you are as yet, as a system within the army, you are not yet as popular, let's say, as about the Directorate of Infantry or Artillery. So tell us about your role, tell us about your task, tell us a little more about your setup as such so that we get a fair picture of what you're doing.
So BharatShakti, as far as the role and charter for this is a pretty young directorate, so about 2 decades old. So the charter for itself, what has been mandated by the Indian Army, the first and foremost is the policy making and the guidelines that we lay out for the hardware, the software, and software can be COTS or bespoke. And so what about its adequacy, the kind of numbers, the kind of standardization, the interoperability. So all these aspects which we look into. And second most important thing is the pushing and the spearheading the automation and digitization pan-Indian Army, right from the apex headquarters till the forward-most formation or the unit per se. Thirdly, we are the software application developer for the Indian Army per se. And when I say that, it can be either operational or logistics or the management part of it. So the use cases which are brought to us by the Indian Army and the process flow which come to us, we automate them. And it's all about design, development, and the sustenance for the life cycle. And the last, not the least, is the AI, which is the latest avatar. So the DGIS is entrusted with that how to imbibe and absorb the AI for the Indian Army as such, both as a service as well as embedded applications.
AI, of course, I'll want a lot more in detail from you as we go along.
We shall discuss.
But let me tell you what the Army Headquarters website reads, the theme for the year 2024. It's the year of technology absorption for the Indian Army. Now, which are the areas and what are you actually focused upon in terms of technology absorption? Otherwise, it's a very big range.
You rightly said. So, BharatShakti, the aspect as far as the year of technology absorption is concerned, I would give it credit to my apex. The Chief of Army Staff is very clearly defined. This is the vision, and it doesn't end at the vision. Rather, he has enabled all of us as far as the platforms are concerned, the processes are concerned, and the human skill set towards translating the vision into the reality. Also, the mandate is that we should align ourselves with the national missions on all these deep technology and the niche missions, so that our efforts get coupled with the national efforts, and at the end of the day, you have some kind of a whole of the nation or whole of the government approach towards the national security tech infra, as well as the impending deliverables which are there. And happy to share with you that there are a total of 16 technology clusters which have been created. And all these 16 technology clusters, they range from sensors to seekers to metallurgy to robotics to autonomous systems and artificial intelligence and and a few more to go. So all of this, the endeavor is that the Director General of each vertical, they head these each technology cluster, and they come out with the kind of a tactical, operational and the strategic goals to achieve, so that we have a strategic advantage against our adversary in the battlefield. As far as DGIS is concerned, there are 2 things which we are looking at. One is the application development and second is the artificial intelligence. In the application development, Brigadier SK, it's all about gone are the days of monolithic, huge applications. What we are coming to the short, agile applications, which can be put at the centralized architecture so that the data can be gleaned and got together at one place. For the data exchange between these small applications, what we are looking at some kind of a API interface, which is again secure and homegrown, which the DGIS has developed by itself. Coming to the artificial intelligence, the focus is to get the multiple aspects as far as the NLP is concerned, the ML is concerned, and of course embed the multiple applications that we are making with the AI. And the good part is, Brigadier SK, the whole thing is very, very collaborative. Whether there are ministries, or it is a BISAG application partner, or it is headquarter IDS, or the academia in terms of IITs and ISC Bangalore. And so much so that in fact I invited the PIFA, the Integrated Financial Advisor, because ultimately he's also a part of this, the entire bit of when my chief says it is the technology transformation, because he has also got to advise us how to align the resources to make this dream, to make this vision a reality. So that much for the Year of Technology Transformation.
AI seems to be the buzzword really. Let me take you to AI. No, we poised to gain advantage. I'm sure the commercial world is taking a lot of advantage of AI. We are also going to take a lot of advantage of these disruptive technologies. The government has embarked on a couple of projects, Digital India, Bharat, the AI, Bharat AI mission as also Made in India. All these are actually based on technology somewhere or other. How are you aligned to these government missions? You were talking about being a whole of the government kind of a system. So how are you aligned to these government missions?
Very good. So Brigadier SK, actually we are going through some very fine and interesting times. And AI is not only is maybe a buzzword, but Indian Army is looking at kind of outcomes from it very, very seriously. So both DGIS and DG Signals, we are together working out on this very, very fine aspect of AI. While DGIS is responsible all about data structuring, all about creating those AI applications, and what DG Signals provide me is kind of a media depth. He provides me with a whole lot of network for spectrum, which is kind of a higher bandwidth, the data centers which are at the national level, and right till the edge. The joint communication architecture for the three services to speak to each other. So that kind of a synergy between the two. While the Deputy Chief of Information System and Coordination, he leads and steers this AI with two of us following. And there are multiple enablers which are also aligning to us. One is the Army Design Bureau, and then there are three center of expertise which are basically the colleges, technical colleges of the Indian Army. They are the MCTE, MCEME and the CME Pune. So as far as DGIS is concerned, we are looking at ensuring that how the tech infra comes up, how the compute power comes up. So in synergy with DG Signals, the endeavor is to create a compute pipeline between the DGIS, DG Signals and the three center of expertise, so that this very, very, I would say, expensive resource which is there in the form of the GPUs or the form of the servers, they are very judiciously used for in kind of a time sharing mode, whether you are making the models learn or you are using as the applications per se. And we are also developing the mill generative AI, which we have already got the whole thing done. And also beside this generative AI, it is the Indian Army applications, AI applications as a service which we are providing, so that the units which are sitting at the cutting edge, they can use it based on the data that they have generated. Also, we are mounting some kind of a chatbots and data bots on top of our formatted, structured or unstructured databases, so that the data insights could be achieved from them. In fact, very interestingly, we had a AI forum very recently in Bangalore. So we called the AI experts, both in the industry captains as well as the startup hubs. And we ensured that it's not going to be the academic exchange. We wanted some kind of very serious plumbing action to happen to us. Okay, where the thing is broken, where we can take the AI forward as far as the Indian Army is concerned. I'm very happy to share with you, Brigadier SK, that very, very progressively, we are moving on some of the finest AI initiatives in the Army, whether it is the agentic AI, or it is the data virtualization to say, or getting the AI on the multiple legacy equipment. all put together, and finally also from the military application, how to create our own SML or LML kind of a thing, which is essential. It is going to take a huge amount of efforts, but then we are on to it. You also brought out that how it's going to be the synergy with the industry or the Bharat AI mission. So to say for the Bell Bangalore and Indian Army, we are collaborating together to bring out a nerve center, a kind of Indian Army incubation, AI incubation center at Bangalore. And hopefully next year we are going to put in place, maybe very early, maybe the month of January. So that's going to be the nerve center, and that's going to be the center of excellence where every possible use case where the AI required to be built in by the Indian Army gets done there. And as far as Bharat AI mission is concerned, I am extremely we are thankful to Secretary Beti for all his support, and he has ensured that all the military efforts, they definitely align with the mission, Bharat AI mission, so that the kind of traction which happens to the national security mission that gets done. And to that end, we are signing a kind of a MOU overarching between the Indian Army and METI, wherein the sharing of resources as part of the GPUs, servers, and the tech resource for development of the AI applications, and also exchange of the officers, just to ensure, just to monitor that whatever we aligned for, that's getting done in a fast-paced manner.
So you place your officers there, and they're...
Yeah, that's what we are doing. One of our officer goes as a kind of a officer there who works very, very close with the policy perspective and folding of the same. A lot of learning there, and one officer from METI comes on in here. And so he says that whatever are the national efforts, they are actually giving the results what we are expecting them to be. In development inside.
Well, you seem to be pushing really good and hard, I would say, as far as the AI is concerned. Congratulations, and
Thank you so much.
I'm sure there's a lot of ground that you will cover. But AI, one thing that we hear about is the availability of data to progress. Yeah. Now you face such problems in the army. What is your way of going about it? How are you doing it?
That's a very pertinent one, because the data aspect, because that's the bedrock on which any kind of AI tools are going to shape upon. So it's a point which we are serious about, and definitely it has got to be tackled, and we are tackling with a twofold strategy. First thing is we are making the applications do the talk in this one. So create the applications centrally scalable, and no small and applications at the formation unit level. Get everything at the centrally, so the data gets in, which we can glean. Just to put an example, we made a situational reporting application, in fact, last year, within a year, and in fact, each day 3,000 logins, and each day 30,000 data sets. So that kind of a scalability, that kind of a data sets we are looking at. And we are also infusing some kind of a legacy module into these applications, so that at least last 2-5 years data can also come on in. Now coming to the other part, which is a challenging. That is the data which is there in the files and folders in the multiple formats, you name it, JSON, Excel, PPT, you name a format, it is there. For that, definitely what we are doing is we have created some kind of a fusion engine, and we are piloting this aspect that how this multiple sources of data that can come into some kind of a structured format, and on top of which we can run the analytics or the AI module. So it's a work in progress, and I believe that over next 12 months or so, we'll get the entire data part in control, and parallelly our AI tools would have got developed by then, which would have matured.
Right, let's go to a slightly broader landscape. So military warfare is changing, technology coming into the battlefield, the kind of surveillance that we require, etc., everywhere similarly, and it's all dependent on information flow, by the way. So how do you what are your comments on this change in the pattern of warfare driven by an information flow? How do you see that?
So BharatShakti have been very, very relevant aspects, and as we are seeing this info system scope unfolding in the huge amount of conflicts which are going around in the globe, and I would say Indian Army is not going to be any way different, and it is not going to be less impacted by this landscape of info system. So I will talk specifically for the Indian Army. So first thing is that we have been able to make a warfighting change in the mindset per se, that is going over to from the network centricity to the data centricity, where data is the core. Where data is the fixed asset that is not going to change irrespective of whatever technology you bring it in. So data is no more subservient to the networks. Whatever be the topology, whatever may be the architecture, the data has got to be congregated at the place and point of choosing where I can actually, apply my tools onto it to get the data inside. So that is the first thing which has happened. And now each one is conscious that this data part has got to be protected, because this is the only thing which we can be worked upon for insights and the follow-up, more prudent actions that the military has to take in the wartime. Second thing is to create some kind of a common operational int and logistic picture. So BharatShakti, we have, I'm sure we have seen in the part of our service as we grew up, that each input used to be there on a different folder, different screen, different device, and then the endeavor was how to put it together, and the kind of time it took to just put the whole mosaic together. But today there are GIS platform that we have created, and in fact one system, I would say, the kind of a SAMA, we call it, the module, the situational awareness module for Indian Army. So that puts the entire gambit, the situational reporting, the battlefield sensors they are thrown in, the fire direction centers, the satellite imagery, the ELINT part of it, the EW subgroup, the BET data, whatever, everything converges onto one screen. And not only that, besides that, it is all about of logistics, how much of ammunition, the rations, the FOL, where, how I can create the OL hub. So much so, it gives the kind of a goal seek options to my commanders, that when my units are moving from particular peacetime locations to the theatre where required to be built in, then what is the time frame they have got to be built in, and what kind of a transportation system I can put in place, whether it is operational railroad, move plan, or whichever way. So now when all of this is happening, the changes is simple, BharatShakti, that the kind of the OODA loop that we used to talk about, it is absolutely speeded up, it's absolutely compressed. However, the number of turns it is going to take, they're going to be far more. So definitely the commanders and staff, they have got to be definitely robust as far as the decision making is concerned in the faster time frame, and they have to cope up with the kind of a real-time access of data which they are getting, and definitely the best man wins in that.
It's going to be a tough job. I don't know whether it's being made easier or more difficult, really, with so much of data streaming in. I guess the system will also give you the options in terms of decisions that you can arrive at. Well, I'm sure you'll find a very good way of going across it. My next question is manpower oriented. See, man behind the machine, the good old world. And like all armies, we are also a hugely manpower intensive army. Are we going to move the men from somewhere? Are you going to place some technical equipment over there? How are we going to go about our manpower management, human resource management? How will all this technology of yours assist?
Okay, BharatShakti, that's a good question. So I would say that technology can continue to run leaps and bounds, but at the same time, it is the supremacy of the man behind the machine can definitely cannot be compromised. He has got to be there. You can call it the man behind the machine or man in the loop. Now, as I call it in the info systems kind of a domain. So while you very rightly brought out that the decision support system has got to get in, there's no doubt about it. And in fact, we are working very seriously on the decision support system, which is finally going to give on that common operational end picture. It is going to give me the kind of a mobility corridors, the avenues of approaches, the multiple courses of action that enemy can take, what is the best course of action that we can take, what is the go and no-go filters, what is my winnability proportions, and what is the kind of a residual combat potential at the end of each phase of battle. But ultimately, the man in the loop, you can't take it out because the final decision has got to be his. The system can't be left to the autonomous because there's going to be havoc. So somewhere the man in the loop has got to be there. Now, the most important is this kind of a info overload when happens. So what is going to be, it is the bounded rationality of that man in the loop, which is going to be a constraint. Because how much of a compute power a man's brain has got, and whatever time he has got to take that decision. So that can be, I think, best obviated, or that can be best overcome if you have got a right competencies, right skill set, right experience, I would say a right fit at the right place. But how do you do it? It's easier said than done. So in fact, we tasted this very wonderful thing when we were developing this application called Asan for the Agniveer. So this was a enterprise-wide solution that we created. And believe you me, BharatShakti, we capture the details of the individual right when he comes on in. And after that, the continuous performance evaluation for the Agniveer, it continues to happen, is all his health state, his hygiene, his promotional aspects, and whatever he's doing in the training part of it. So everything gets captured in a unique manner, and everything transparent manner. So when we got a success in this, we said, why not create it a 20x or a 100x model? So we already piloted kind of a thing that we are calling it a ERP solution for a trained soldier. So as the Agniveer gets into that, so it's going to be Samarth, or you can call it the able enabler for the Indian Army. So which gives me a 360-degree profile of an individual. So now I can capture the knowledge, skill, attributes of the individual, his competencies, the way they have grown up, the terrain and the areas where he has worked, his intimacy with the information systems, and then I insert him in at the place so that he really can do the best, and we can reap the dividends which we are investing so hugely in these info systems, and rightly so. So that much as far as the kind of a human machine teaming which gets in. I'm sure it will give the dividends which we are expecting them to deliver.
Actually, with the kind of system that you have built in, it can also perhaps evaluate an individual's performance. In a scenario where you're going to throw out 75% people, how to be objective.
So spot on, Brigadier SK. So while it meets the operational needs, this kind of a system, it also meets the personal aspirations of the individuals in the way of my promotability checks, in the way of the dues which have come to me, have they got credit to me or not, and all amounts of and with huge amount of transparency, including any amount of grievances that the soldier wants to bring in, now the officer wants to put it in, he just has to put it in, and there are stakeholders to get it back. So the moment you put something in, as a ticket is raised on the agency. So that kind of a responsiveness also comes on in when the systems flow out that way. So we are piloting this system, and I think by next 6 to 12 months, our endeavor is to roll out pan-India this Samarth as an enterprise-wide solution for the human capital.
Okay, let's go to the other side. And wherever you use information systems, etc., you have certain vulnerabilities created, be it the army or be it like any civil walks of life. In the airport, if there is a vulnerability which is taken on, then your flights get cancelled, everybody gets into trouble, or it can happen in a bank, it can happen anywhere. How are you going to ensure that in an organization like ours, the army, where there is so much of security to be maintained, etc., how do you ensure that you plug the vulnerabilities?
Yeah, that aspect is relevant because any amount of efficiency or any amount of speed, definitely, but the security can't be compromised in the profession that we are in. So we are absolutely conscious of this particular aspect of security, and I would say that in the info system domain, there are 3 different levels at which this vulnerabilities get arrested and checked very, very meaningfully. The one is the media part, second is the application, and third is the data. So for the media, it is with the DG Signals who constantly ensures that my Army data network or Sambhav, they're absolutely air-gapped. And he is constantly on the run to check if there are any kind of vulnerabilities are happening and how to stop them. Similarly, the kind of redundancies that the DG Signals brings it in by the way of radios, microwave, space, satellite communication. So all this that helps me to check the vulnerabilities, and if at all any risk, I can mitigate or alternate means are available. So coming to the applications and the data, they fall in the domain of the DGIS. So what we do is, first of all, is for the application part, is that DevSecOps is the protocol that we follow, so that when we are developing the applications, the vulnerabilities or the sensitivities, they get addressed right up there. And the moment my applications are ready, we subject to some kind of a architectural vetting, some kind of a vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, which gets done by the Army Cyber Group. And also these applications are made available to the personnel strictly on the role-based access system, so that there's no individual who is not authorized to look at that application, he gets in. And as far as the data is concerned, we are using the encryption tools to ensure that the data, whether it's in the transit or it's at the rest, it is suitably encrypted. This is one thing which never ends, and we are always conscious of that aspect. So the next thing which we are exploring and working on is the kind of creating the quantum safe applications and also the quantum safety for the data part of it. And that you will hear from us on the success in that field sooner.
Okay, last question, and I'll mix up a couple of them put together. What are your objectives ahead in terms of let's say real-time data access? That's one of our major objectives, I'm sure. or in terms of this tri-service commands now coming up, and there's a certain requirement of compatibility between whether it's equipment procedures, whatever you call it. So all these things have to become compatible. So if you could just dwell on that a little bit.
Okay, that's fantastic. So I would say that when I say crystal gazing into future for what is the end state that Indian Army is looking at, or how do I put the tri-services part together, so I will not talk of too much in future. I would say over next a year plus, what I look at, the first thing is rather twofold things. The first thing is how to create a virtual data fabric or a data mosaic, so that the data can be pulled in from multiple applications. And once they are on the mosaic, we run our required AI tools or the analytics and bring in the data insights for the data-driven decision making for the commanders and staff. And the moment my application is switched off, the data gets purged, gets back to the silos from where it came from, so that much of surety from the security as well as the application owners that it's a risk-free access to the whole process. So that is the number one. Number two is the endeavor is to enhance the management information system, so that all this report and returns which are choking the bandwidth all the time, that gets done, no more required. So the reality is there will be dashboards which are right from the unit commanders, we call it CO dashboard, and right up to the army commanders, which is the army commander strategic dashboard. So all the resources, in what state they are in, the location we are in, it's absolutely available to me. So these are the two things which I feel they are going to make a huge difference. And I would say the 3 points which I look in the to follow up and complete. The first part, as I said, the command information decision support system, which we talked about last, where in fact all the applications, whether it is operational or logistics or the management part of it, they culminate, they bring in the data, we run in a whole lot of statistical modeling on it and the AI tools, and then the curated options come out right from the unit commanders right up to the core headquarters, or going to the commands or the tri-services theaters as you mentioned. And second thing, as I said, the enhanced MISO application or the management information system, that brings in, as I said, the all resources and what are the best and where to align, gives the option to commanders. And third thing is the enterprise-wide solution, which I talk about, the human capital. So that must give me the absolutely tight fit, because the most precious element being the human capital, how to align it to whether the operational or the logistics part of it. Coming to your last bit of it, that is our tri-services part of it. So this is being very actively progressed, I would say, whether the ICT setup in the headquarter IDS, and all the 3 services, Army, Navy and Air Force, we are working absolutely in conjunction, co-jointly and positively. A joint communication architecture has just been created, wherein now on the single website you can have all the 3 websites emerging. The applications we are looking at, that how the API framework can pull out whatever is the required information from each other. So in fact, we just had a joint commanders conference in September in Lucknow, where we actually posed absolutely a homogeneous picture, all 3 operational applications bringing out the picture together. So we are going on very positively and very steadfastly. Also a whole lot of policies which are tri-services based. So they are coming out in a big manner, whether they are the compliance metrics or the data governance policies. So they are going to ensure that our data dictionaries, our the data compliances, they become common. And once that is common, there will be no reason for us not to get a combined mosaic all the time, which is going to be a winnability factor for the Indian Army in the times to come.
Right. Thank you, General. Thank you so much. I think it's been a wonderful exposure to the kind of role and tasks that you have taken on, and wish you all the success, especially in the AI mode, and also wherever it comes down to training and evaluating our human resources, like you said. All the best to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, BharatShakti. Very kind.
And thank you, viewers. Thanks for joining us. Do join in now and then, and you will find such interesting conversations. Thank you.